situation in the southeast. Some have said if you release this man, it would lead to peace, and those that have been committing criminality, hiding under IPOB, will be exposed. Is it not time we look at alternative dispute mechanisms to deal with this situation? Is it something the president might consider?
So everything in life begins with the person. Like, for example, are you a Christian? Yes. So there are people, they call them born again, right? Do you know how they became born again? They acknowledge their sins. They repented. They are forgiven. Their sins are forgiven, and then they become born again. Unless there is acknowledgement by the person in question, I am denouncing this. She talked about the de-radicalization. Then government can intervene. You cannot sit where you sit holding that thought and position that is criminal, and then your uncle, your sister, your brothers are pleading with government to say, bypass all protocol and forgive. First of all, our judicial system, Nnamdi will have to have gone through the judicial process and be convicted before the president can exercise the order.
So, but there's still the presumption of innocence. He can't admit to what hasn't been officially said is a crime.
So if you don't admit, run through the process. You see, this de-radicalization we talked about, they were not yet charged to court. Some of them while in court. It's acknowledgement. If you don't want to acknowledge, what's the basis of saying, I want to free him? Because some people say, if you free him, we'll handle him.
So,
what I'm trying to say is, Nnamdi Kanu is not different from another average Nigerian. The press, who emphasize on the right of the ordinary man, and when they ask government, they keep saying ordinary man, ordinary. You must talk about the real problem of ordinary people, rather than certain individuals that are the symbol of catchphrase and buzzwords. Somebody has to acknowledge his wrong and said, I want peace with government. I want to renounce what I'm saying. And then you can say, okay, there is evidence, cogent, to say that this person wants to live his own ways.
So, in essence, I think the summary of what we're saying is that there's going to, the government, the Nnamdi Kanu is going to be detained, and that the presidency will not at any point step into the arena.
The villa is not a police station. The president is not a prosecutor. He's the president of Nigeria, tasked with responsibility to govern Nigeria. Law enforcement will carry out their work, and then people in government will carry out their work. I want to beg the Nigerian media to not choose certain individuals and treat them as more special than other individuals with the disproportionate application of principles. The ordinary man, when it comes to hunger, it is good for the optics to talk about them. When it comes to criminal justice system, you isolate certain individual. It's just like, let's say, corrupt people. Maybe there's a corrupt politician has been in charge. Then some people will say, leave him. Meanwhile, the other people can be in detention. I made the point clear to you here. For de-radicalization to take place, there has to be acknowledgement and departure from your old ways.
We get your message, sir. So,
thank you.
But that message, we don't know if it's for us. The message also should also be back. We have message.
No, it's actually Moses to you to tell them, because they told you and you asked me.
Yes, but we're also giving the message that we get from the people back to the government.
To the presidency. Which is
the presidency is that what we hear and the pulse we're getting from them is that we need to see the government cutting down on the cost of government.
Yeah, that will discuss that for sure.
And effective communication of government policies, because there's a...
Why am I here?
Yes.
Alright guys, the way these people go for that barrack is what I don't understand. I am really worried for them, Nigerian government. Okay, that man is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu spokesperson, Bawala Daniel. He gets a whole history for body. Maybe we just leave that one for now. So in case you don't understand what they happen for them, he said Nnamdi Kanu must renounce his agitation and apologize to the nation, Nigeria. Then a process of the radicalization can now begin. The government may now decide if it intends for an alternative dispute resolution to be employed in his situation or not. He said, according to him, he said it is not about his uncles, his sisters, his friends apologizing on his behalf and pleading for his freedom. That Nnamdi Kanu must, first of all, be born again before any other thing can follow. And that is not that born again now. It's what I don't really understand. Because I thought before now, We have rules and regulations that abide this country. We have rules. The courts give judgment, and the Nigerian citizens follow. The government follows. So before we go further, I want you to watch this video of the federal government of Nigeria.
They have violated its judgment, discharging Mr. Nnamdi Kanu of the 6-count charge of terrorism on the grounds that the trial court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain the charges against him. The court held that an unlawful and extraordinary rendition without adherence to due process of the law is a gross violation of all international conventions, protocols and treaties that Nigeria is signatory to, as well as a breach of the appellant's fundamental human rights. The appellate court holds that the federal government failed to controvert the allegation that the IPOB leader was abducted in Kenya and brought back to Nigeria without extradition proceeding. The court further adds that the government was ominously silent on the issue, which is described as very pivotal in determining whether the trial court will still have the jurisdiction to continue with the criminal proceeding before it. The court also notes that Nigeria is a signatory to African Union Convention, which it ratified on April 28, 2022, as well as the Charter on Human and People's Rights, which it said prescribed how a wanted person could be transferred from one country to another through an extradition request, which must be in writing with a statement indicating offences for which a person is wanted. The appellate court held that the government's action tainted the entire proceeding it initiated against Mr. Nnamdi Kanu and amounted to an abuse of criminal prosecution in general. Although the counsel to the federal government left the court immediately after the judgment, the lawyer to Mr. Kanu reacts to the judgment.
There was one fundamental issue on which the court today anchored this judgment, this intermediate court. And that is that the lower court never evaluated the mountain of evidence placed before it regarding the forceful capture, kidnap, torture, and extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya back to Nigeria on the 26th of June, 2021.
So guys, that was the judgment of Nigerian court. 2022, yes, October 13th. So you see why this guy is really frustrated with the whole thing. Now the Nigerian government is saying Nnamdi Kanu, needs, must renounce his agitation and apologize to Nigeria as a nation. I beg, wait, now so they do something first. I think first thing first, let this man be released. You see, the way they are taking the whole thing, that is why we are still here till now. The people who are advising Nigerian government, they know their advice well. Release this man, then let there be a roundtable talk on our discourse, dialogue about the whole thing. You get. Meanwhile, before I go, nothing as they don't come out. They say no matter what, even those when they agitate for Nnamdi Kanu's release, so all of them don't turn terrorists for Nigeria. In fact, Nigerian government not just try and so they release Nnamdi Kanu. That one just there by the wayside. But the thing now be say Nigerian government say Nnamdi Kanu before he go receive his freedom, so he go first of all denounce his agitation. I don't remember say Sunday Igboho, the Yoruba nation activist, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he don't free him. I don't remember when he don't denounce Yoruba nation agitation. No. Why is Nnamdi Kanu on like this? Well, guys, they drop out for here. I beg, drop your comment below the comment section. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Share this video, make it go viral. This is what Nigerian government is demanding for the detained leader. Do you think Nnamdi Kanu can ever do that? Let's hear from you. Thank you, and bye for now.
Daniel Bwala has come out to say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given Nnamdi Kanu some conditions to be met before he can regain freedom. What do you have to say concerning this?
What sort of condition has he given a freedom fighter? What condition would you give to a freedom fighter rather than let him go? I think the presidency is using wants to use Nnamdi Kanu to negotiate his political ambition come 2027. And the question is that is it a crime for him to agitate for the referendum of his people? Agitation is never a crime. Even it is enshrined in the UN Charter. In the UN Charter, that see you have right for peaceful what agitation. So coming to tell Nnamdi Kanu to me is a slap. Is a slap on the Igbos. Why didn't the president give Sunday the same condition when he let Sunday off you? President Kanu has also said that he would rather die himself in prison than for him to be released. The question is fighting for the Biafra struggle. Is it a crime, and when has it become a crime? These are the questions that the president should be known, and the Southeastern governments are not even saying anything to it. The problem of the Southeast, I will continue to say that the problem of the Southeast are the Southeast leaders themselves. When Ebola came to release this press statement, why can't the Southeastern leaders counter all this press release? What has Nnamdi Kanu done for him to have been remain in incarceration up to date? Yet someone has been incarcerated for some couple of years, and now you still not sentence him. Now there's no concrete evidence to prove that Nnamdi Kanu is guilty of all the charges. Rather it has been from one excuses to the other excuses. Why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu would never renounce the Biafra struggle? He will never be a sellout, because this is the same man who stood for his people when the Fulani was fighting people. And then why is he fighting? He's fighting to safeguard his people from the Fulani conquest and from the Fulani invasion. Look at it, it is all everywhere that the Fulani is ready to take over the land, the ancestral land of the people in the country. And now you keep saying that Nnamdi Kanu should not fight for his people. You keep telling the people to have trust in one Nigeria. The question is that what has one Nigeria benefited the people? The one Nigeria that has even brought more damage to the economic structure, brought more pain to the life of people. The only people advocating for the unity of Nigeria are the politicians, because they are benefiting from it. See, Daniel Bola should go and sit down. Nnamdi Kanu would not act like Daniel Bola, because the same Daniel Bola was the spokesperson to Atiku in 2023 presidential election. Because his boss lost the election, now he has jumped the ship. He has jumped the ship to APC. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu would never act, would never stoop so low just because of political appointments or whatsoever the presidency or the president would have given him that condition. What sort of nonsense? Where was Daniel Bola? Where were the president when the Fulani were buying people in the Southeast? The only man who was to the occasion to defend his people was Nnamdi Kanu, renouncing to keep one Nigeria in bondage, telling him to renounce so that the evil atrocities can continue, telling Nnamdi Kanu to renounce Biafra so that you can continue in this illegality. The question is, there is no future in Nigeria. And no future in Nigeria. Yes, and someone need to stand up and take the bull by its horn. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is saying it. Yes, he said he will apply intention for him to beg the president to release him. That shows that he's fully a resilient fighter. He's ready to fight to the end. And that is how you know a freedom fighter is ready for everything that comes his way. Either it's making or it's mine. What sort of condition is that? You are not even looking at what this man has been pointing at. That the Fulani has been killing people. Yet, no evidence to jail Nnamdi Kanu. The Fulani have committed all sorts of atrocities in the south part of Nigeria. And then even in Nigeria at large, what are you doing to put an end to it? Because of your own greed, your own selfish interest. Because you know that tomorrow, if Nigeria should organize, everybody would have to go their separate way, and then you might lose out. And that is why. And then the more reason why you are coming to tell Nnamdi Kanu to renounce the struggle. Why would Nnamdi Kanu renounce the struggle? Why can't you prescribe bandits, terrorists, and then tell bandits to renounce killing? A man who has done nothing has been used as scapegoats. What has Nnamdi Kanu done?
For the question of this first now, why is it that every time the Igbos do something, they have been arrested? And for example, yesterday, SMSL invaded Benue State. They did that in Ebonyi State last week. Why does the Igbos of people from the South seem to be like the scapegoats in Nigeria?
The Igbos are not valued in the unity called one Nigeria. Yes, but if truly the Igbos are valued, the Igbos would have say in this country. Rather, the Igbos have been sidelined, the Igbos have been neglected. It is not only Nnamdi Kanu who is agitating. Sunday Igboho too agitated for the Yoruba race too. But today, where Sunday Igboho, he has been left off the hook. But rather, the Igbo man, they see the Igbo man as a scapegoat for them to perpetrate their own evil and commit all the said evils according to them. To me, it is an insult to the Igbo race to telling a young man, Nnamdi Kanu, to drop the Biafra ideology. It simply means that Nnamdi Kanu should discontinue in the Biafra race. And what is Biafra? The struggle is beyond, is even more now, it's even more beyond Nnamdi Kanu. The struggle is beyond him. The struggle now is an ideology. And then you cannot just kill an ideology with a barrel of gun. It is impossible. When Gohan said no victor, no vanquish after the Civil War, but the Igbos are not living in vanquish because they are not being welcome with in the current contraption called Nigeria. So they are not welcome. So they tell me why you still want an average Igbo man to believe in the unity, why you still believe that an average Igbo man will still continue in this, we want to continue being slaves in the country. So Nnamdi Kanu countless times have come out to refute that, telling them that he would never, no matter amount of intimidation, no matter amount of the oppression from those holding him, he will not renounce Biafra. Rather, the General should channel his energy to tell the Fulanis to renounce killing. Because if there is no killing in Nigeria system, if the system is working, Nnamdi Kanu will not come out and say he is agitating for the Biafra struggle. Is it possible? He won't. But it's because of the killing of his people, and then the Igbos are not being welcomed in the said country. That is the major reason why Nnamdi Kanu say, let me fight for my people. And today, Nnamdi Kanu is even more influential than the Southeastern governors and then than the Southeastern lawmakers. My brother, in every generation, there must be a Moses or a Joshua that is ready to take people out of slavery and take them to the promised land. And Nnamdi Kanu is the man. No amount of intimidation, no amount of propaganda, no amount of hatred can make Nnamdi Kanu renounce the struggle, because Nigeria is not one Nigeria would never be one, and Nigeria would never be one. Thank you for having me.
Okay, God bless you.